I know several young men right now in their mid-20s who are living at home. The rest of us are living in apartments.
The president said home prices are not coming down. He said, actually, I'm going to drive them prices up because people that own their home, I want them to maximize as much as possible.
Most people my age can't buy a house. I don't see myself literally ever buying a house unless I'm married.
If you're Gen Z or a millennial, there's a good chance that you've either moved back in with your parents or you've seriously contemplated it. Housing over the last 5 years has become nearly impossible to afford. Today, we're going to be taking a look at some real stories and shedding a light on just how bad things have gotten. If you like this kind of content, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I really would love to hear what you guys think. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
I know several young men right now in their mid-20s who are living at home.
Guilty. I am 27 currently, and I'm still living at home. I almost moved out at the end of 2019, was seriously contemplating moving across the country, but we all know what happened in 2020. And then the cost of living just spiraled from there, so I never really took the chance on moving out. I'm thankful that I didn't, and I still live at home. It's become super unaffordable.
We have full-time jobs. The rest of us are living in apartments. I get married in 4 months. We are not buying a house. I saw someone on Twitter call this permanent adolescence. That's exactly what it is.
It's really hard to feel like an adult when you really don't have your own space to call your own. When you're sharing it with a bunch of either roommates or family members, kind of just feels like you're a kid that just got older. You still have the added responsibilities of being an adult, like paying for health insurance, paying for car insurance, having to go work a job that's 40 hours a week and still not being able to afford your own place. Did I actually grow up or did I just get older? I don't know if that makes any sense. In my mind, it makes sense. Like I'm older, but I'm not an adult, or at least I don't feel like an adult.
And it's going to get worse. Donald Trump just said he wants people that already own homes to see their home values go up. That's sounding a lot like I will never own a home.
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home.
He did say that, and that's exactly what it's seeming like. Most people, millennials and Gen Z, will never be able to actually afford a home.
We enrich boomers and Gen Xers at the expense of Gen Z. We are severing our ability to leave the nest. Why do you think people are having kids so late? I'm a capitalist, but I will tell you this is exactly why democratic socialist figures like Zohran Mamdani are gaining so much popularity, because at least someone is listening to us. The future I think a lot of us see for ourselves is that we continue to live in boxes, AI replaces all of our jobs, and we have to live off some stimmy check from the government.
Oh, that's so bleak and dystopian, but here we are. AI is completely changing the workforce. There's jobs that are completely becoming replaced by AI, and in a few years there's going to be even more jobs that are replaced by AI, and there's nothing we can do about it. The powers that be, or the people that have influence or power, are pushing AI so hard that us regular people can't do anything about it. And it's going to get to a point where if nobody has a job, nobody can afford anything, so the government's going to have to stimulate us somehow in order to get the money flowing in America. That's the reality of where we're heading. And it's scary.
People think, oh, these kids are so burned out, they're just lazy. It's like, no, they're working 40 hours a week, but at the end of the month, they have nothing to show for it. So if you're not making any progress and you look back 5 years and go, damn, I made $300,000 in the last 5 years, or I made $400,000 in the last 5 years, and I have nothing. If anything, I have $25,000 in debt. That's going to create burnout because you feel like you just put in 5 years of work and have nothing to show for it. And we still have people blaming them that, well, the reason you're broke is because of the coffee. It's like, no, it's the 25% inflation that we've faced that just destroyed people's spending power. It's the 30% increase in rent prices where people are spending 40% of their money on rent. People just don't have any money. People aren't having kids. They're not being able to start families. People are struggling financially, fighting financially. Relationships are suffering. This is all decline in living standards. You realize millennials with degrees are living with roommates into their 30s, not having kids? How do you have a Thanksgiving in a 900 square foot apartment?
It's akin to running on a treadmill for 30 minutes, looking down at your mileage and seeing that you have -3 miles in. What did I spend the last 30 minutes doing? That's exactly how this feels. It makes you want to give up and just throw it in the towel. Be like, what am I even trying for? Can't afford a place of my own. I still have to live with my parents, so why even try? Might as well just go play video games or be on TikTok all day. It's how people are starting to feel. And it's really disheartening.
Humans are good at adapting, but there's a fine line between adapting and being taken advantage of, and I think we're being taken advantage of.
Taken advantage of, ringed out for everything that we're worth. I mean, literally squeezing every bit of productivity that they can out of the rag before they just toss us to the side and grab a new one.
You cannot live any form of a good life on anything less than like $13,000 a month take home after tax. Why is credit card debt at an all-time high? Because to live a normal basic life requires $10,000 a month for a singular human. And now if you go get married and have kids and you have childcare, it's like triple that. What is a trip to Disney? Like 10 grand? Dude, what?
That's ridiculous.
A bowl at Chipotle is like $22. You go to Cava, it's like $19. It's like, bro, what? I remember it was like $8 when I was in college. Everything is stupidly more expensive. In 2019, we lived in downtown Tampa, Harbor Island, super nice place. It was $1,800 a month. That same place now is like $4,200 a month. Same place. It wasn't renovated or anything. It's just inflation.
I was recently having a conversation with a family member, and they asked me how much I personally think I needed to live a comfortable lifestyle in America. And I told them, even before watching this video, about $10,000 to $15,000 a month. And they looked at me like I had 5 heads. The part of New Jersey that I live in is basically a suburb of New York City. I'm 45 minutes away from New York City. So the people that work in the city, that earn those city wages, they live in New Jersey. New York is a dumpster fire of unaffordability. When you factor in groceries for just one person, me personally, I spend $400 a month on groceries. And I'm not buying anything crazy. I shop organic, obviously, because health is wealth and I love to take care of myself. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, fresh everything, and organic everything. And it adds up. It's expensive. I'm spending about $150 a week. So $400 is on the low end. $600 a month just for food? Just for food. Not including car insurance, not including health insurance, rent, utilities, internet, any leisure activities that you want to take, any subscription services that you subscribe to. And that stuff really starts to add up. So yeah, $10,000 to $15,000 is what I think I would personally need to live a comfortable lifestyle and not worry about money. And that's crazy. It wasn't like that just 10, 15 years ago.
A new survey says most Americans now see the middle class as out of reach. The New York Times Siena poll found that 2/3 of voters think a middle-class lifestyle is unattainable for most people. That includes homeownership, stable employment, and a disposable income for leisure. 77% also say it's harder to achieve a middle-class lifestyle than a generation ago. Those polled say they do not feel confident in their ability to pay for retirement, housing, and health care. Pew Research defines middle class as 2/3 of the median household income. Here in California, that comes out to an annual income of roughly $63,000 to $190,000.
Taking a look at the comments, we're stuck in apartments. I have lived in an apartment my entire life, and it's looking like I will continue to live in an apartment. $80K a year was middle class like a decade ago. Now you've basically got to hit $150 to $200K to be middle class. $200,000 a year is $16,000 a month before tax. It's a little over $16,000. It's like $16,500 a month. $16,000 a month to be middle class, not to be rich and wealthy, thanks to corporate greed. You see all these companies that have record-breaking quarters, record-breaking years where they've never made more profit ever, and they're not redistributing that wealth to their workers or to the economy. They're hoarding it. They're just keeping it for themselves so that they can buy their 16th yacht.
You are correct. Millennials and Gen Z are not out buying starter homes. You're 1000% correct. Older generations, specifically boomers. I'm seeing a lot of those in the comment sections. You are 100% correct. The first homes that we went out and bought or are currently buying, they are not starter homes. And so you're getting in the comment section going, well, the reason that your mortgage is so high and the reason that you feel like none of this is affordable is because you're living above your means. You didn't buy a starter home. You didn't buy a starter home. We're not buying starter homes because we're not just starting out. A lot of us are 40 and can't afford a home.
I need you to think about this mathematically. The average life expectancy for a woman in the United States is 81 years old. For men, it's 75 years old. If you are 40, that means you are already well over halfway through your life expectancy, and you still haven't had the opportunity to buy a house. For women, you're just about halfway there. The average mortgage is 30 years. you would be paying off your house for the rest of your life if you were to purchase in your 40s. Now, yeah, maybe you live to 100 years old. That's if you're lucky. But even then, you would enjoy only 2 decades being completely debt-free. And on top of that, you would still have to pay property taxes. Did that put into perspective just how ridiculous this is and how bad this has gotten?
Because it isn't our starter home. We're not starting out. We've been going for a couple decades.
And the way that things are going, it's not going to be a starter home. It's going to be a forever home. Because best case scenario, their house appreciates a bit in value and they're able to sell it. And then they're entering a market where other houses have also appreciated, and they're just going to be right back in the same cycle. Taking a look at the comments. Starter homes that need $100,000 in repairs. Somebody said they seriously think millennials are still 22. Yeah, they do, because they're old and they probably have dementia. Another comment, realtor here. A lot of boomers are stuck in homes that would be starter homes for millennials because they can't afford to downsize because everything is too expensive. That's what I'm trying to say.
Average 20-year-old today is under so much stress and pressure and chaos right now, and it's not pressure and stress and chaos that existed 5 or 6 years ago. And, you know, we sit here and we look at 20-somethings and we're like, oh, they're weak or addicted to social media or all anxious or this or the other thing. Have you stopped to consider what it's like to be a 20-something today? Homeownership is out of reach. The generational wealth gap is absolutely massive. Nearly 10 million people right now are falling behind in their student loans. That's $250 billion worth of debt that is past due. The world is in chaos. And most 20-somethings have parents that lived in a very predictable, stable economy. They went to a corporate job. They reported to the office. They had a network of friends at work. That's not the typical 20-year-old experience. They're now in the middle of a recession and hybrid work. The world is shifting. The landscape is shifting. If you feel lost, I'm not surprised.
You'll hear older generations complain about the trials and tribulations that they had to go through when they were younger. And that's fair. Every generation has their own struggles. That being said, we are facing struggles that are unprecedented, that there is no other example of in history ever. AI being the clearest example. Technology that is so advanced that it is literally changing the way that the workforce operates. It is technology that is so advanced that it is threatening the livelihoods of millions of people, not just 10, 20,000, 30,000 people in a specific city. This is globally. It is literally disrupting so many lives, and it's only going to get worse. Gee, I wonder why Gen Z and Millennials are so stressed. On top of not being able to afford a house. I don't know. I have no idea. I can't think of anything, honestly. I developed alopecia at the age of 20, caused by stress. They're 23 currently. Alopecia is literally the loss of hair due to stress or other factors, but mostly stress. This person is literally experiencing stress-induced hair loss at 22. That's brutal.
I'm angry, and I'm crashing out. My husband and I got a letter in the mail. It's probably the 3rd year in a row, I think, that our mortgage is going up another almost $100 a month. Tell me what the benefit is of owning a home. If I'm going to experience a raise, just like a tenant would at a rental property, why would I not save myself the maintenance costs, all the other costs that go into owning a home, the property tax? I'm going to experience a yearly increase. That's $1,200 a year.
There's always a new tax. I mean, New York literally not too long ago just implemented a new tax, a congestion tax. There's literally so many people that they're like, yeah, we're going to tax you because there's too many people now. As if paying tolls to get into the city wasn't already expensive. We were already spending $32 one way just to get to the city. Mind you, I live 45 minutes away from the city. $32 just to get into the city. Just to get into the city, and then you got to get out. Another $32. Death and taxes, those are the only things that are guaranteed. What do you think, that we want you to enjoy your money? No. You're going to give us more every year, and you're going to get less, and you're going to be happy with it, and you're not going to own anything, and that's going to be the new normal, and you're going to be okay with it because that's just the way that things are. Taking a look at the comments, just to confirm, your mortgage did not go up. Your tax and insurance went up. As if there's a difference. Who cares? Who cares if it was the mortgage, if it was the insurance, if it was the taxes? She is still paying more money per month for the exact same thing. This person says, my property tax just went up $298 a month. Some people aren't able to put that in their savings account per month. Some people aren't able to put half of that in their savings account per month. This person says, and what are we getting with these taxes? Now, this is something that I really wanted to talk about. I live in New Jersey, like I said. We just got a huge snowstorm. We've had snow on the ground in parking spaces for a week and a half now. We have not been able to park anywhere. Like, everywhere is covered in tons and tons of snow. The city did an absolute abysmal job at clearing all the snow off the roads. I mean, I've never seen snow clearing this bad ever. So we pay all these taxes and we're not even getting benefits like having clean roads in a timely manner so that we can get to our jobs to pay the taxes. This is why people are crashing out.
The president said home prices are not coming down. He said, actually, I'm going to drive them prices up because people that own their home, I want them to maximize as much as possible. Affordability for younger generations is not as important as it is for the 60 to 80-year-olds' paper net worth. One of the major problems with real estate is that it's looked as an investment. And it sounds good in theory, especially 60 years ago, but now we're at a point that somebody actually has to buy your house. And if wages aren't increasing, how will anybody do that? A lot of people are house poor, putting everything that they have into their home, and hopefully over the course of 10, 20, 30 years, it 2x's, 3x's, 4x's. So in boomers' cases, it's 6 to 7x. But the reality is, just because something has a number attached on paper doesn't mean anybody can buy that.
I'm a firm believer in everything, all assets, no matter what it is, maybe minus like subjective things like art, have a capped set price that after that price, it is not worth purchasing. There's no reason to purchase it. It's just out of range. It's out of touch. It just doesn't make sense financially. And we are starting to get to that point with houses. We've actually been at that point with houses. And it's hitting the breaking point now where these houses on paper are worth a lot more than these people bought them for. The wages aren't keeping up with the cost of the house. So everyone that is in the market to buy the house can't afford it. So you're wealthy on paper, but who's actually buying these houses? Well, I'll tell you who's buying these houses. Corporations like BlackRock and all these other property management corps that just buy up these houses in bulk so that they can rent them because they don't want you to own anything. They want you to rent for them because then you owe them money for the rest of your life.
Starter home for $60K. It's now worth $500,000. Great. Guess what? No one can buy it. So it's actually not worth what it's showing on paper. It's probably worth $150,000.
The concept of a starter home being $500,000 is absolutely mind-blowing, dystopian even. $500,000. Unless you have help from mommy and daddy, most Gen Z and Millennials do not have that kind of money laying around. They don't make the kind of money to pay for that, and they're probably never going to be able to afford that.
The solution to affordability is slicing your paper net worth in half, but that goes against everything that they told us, right? Buy a home, start a family, then sell your home, and you make money. Housing was never supposed to be an investment, especially for the common individual. The marketplace dictates what your house is. If you put your house up for $800,000 and you only get bids for $400,000 and you never get a buyer, it's not worth $800,000.
You may want $800,000, but what you want and what you get are very different. And I think we all learned this very early in life. Well, at least most of us do. I can say right now, yeah, I want $30,000 for my car. But if that car is only quoted at $11,000 on Kelley Blue Book, that's the absolute threshold that people are going to be willing to pay.
I feel like our generation is stuck in the mindset that we're so far behind because everything is so expensive. Most people my age can't buy a house. I don't see myself literally ever buying a house unless I'm married. I could not afford a house on my own. All of our parents are like, oh yeah, I bought a house at 18. I bought a house at 21. The money that it requires now to buy a house is absolutely absurd.
Not to mention that the number one strenuous factor of any marriage is finances. And some of the biggest financial burden that you can take on is a house. So that's just putting unnecessary stress on your marriage, and that marriage might not work out. Statistically, most marriages don't work out. 50% of them don't work out. So there's a chance that it might be good in the beginning. You're able to afford that house. Then you guys split. You might have to sell that house. And if you're underwater, God forbid it's a bad market and you paid more than what it's worth, well, you just absolutely screwed your finances.
I can't even imagine it. And no wonder why most people in my generation feel like they're so far behind and they're stuck, because most people can't afford to move out. Most people can't afford to live on their own in an apartment, never mind a home, a house. Companies aren't keeping up with the rate of inflation. Everything's so expensive, we're not making enough money, and we're just...
Taking a look at the comments, this person says, we aren't behind. We unfortunately are just alive at the beginning of a literal new world order. Money is changing, job market is changing, housing market is changing, society has changed, and we're scrambling to adjust. I couldn't agree more. Here's a real world example. I bought my first house in 2012 through a first home buyers initiative. I was making maybe $30,000 a year. I had great credit but no savings and no real credit history outside of one credit card. I had to put $2,000 down. Fast forward to 2023, my fiance and I are trying to buy a house together. One bank turned us down because our debt to income was too high, so we paid off both of our vehicles. Even after that, we struggled to get the loans because they required $25,000 down. Ended up borrowing from my parents because who the hell has $25,000 laying around? Double income, no debt, we barely secured a loan. It's ridiculous. This person says, being single in this economy is brutal. I work full time, sleep outside under a tarp with a sleeping bag, and ride a bike everywhere. I mean, geez, that's he's homeless. He's homeless and he's working full time.
Existing housing, people that own their homes, we're going to keep them wealthy. We're going to keep those prices up. We're not going to destroy the value of their homes so that somebody that didn't work very hard can buy a home.
I just want to call out something really ironic that he said. Donald Trump was born rich. I think it's fair to say he didn't have to work as hard as the average American to get to the status that he has gotten to this day. I'm not saying it didn't require any work ethic. I'm not saying that maybe he didn't work hard. But the irony in trying to say that the average American isn't working hard to afford these unaffordable houses is ludicrous coming from somebody that has been rich their entire life. Just something to think about.
The median house price in this country is $400,000. The median household income is $85,000. If someone put down $20,000, got a $380,000 loan at 6%, their principal, interest, property taxes, homeowner insurance, and private mortgage insurance is $3,100 a month. Someone making $85,000 after health insurance premiums for a family of four, taxes, not including 401k, I'm not going to include that, their take home, their debt is $5,260. $3,100 would be 59% of their net income. They can't get the house.
60% of what that person makes would be going straight to the house. 60%. And that doesn't include any heating, electricity, utilities, doesn't include any maintenance that might have to be done, doesn't include groceries, none of that. That's literally just for the house, and 60% of what that person makes $85,000 a year would be paying. But they're not working hard enough. That person is clearly not working hard enough. They got to get their bread up. What are they doing?
And if someone goes, oh, well, we'll just go get a $250,000 house. They're not available. In the 40 major metro areas, $300,000 homes and below are basically non-existent. In some, maybe 1%. That leaves out 35 to 40% of all Americans who don't have access to homes under $300,000.
And I can assure you that if you do find a house that's around that $250,000 range, under $300,000, it is going to need at least $50 to $100K, maybe even more in work put into it, in renovations, for it to be livable. I've seen many pieces of garbage on the market that are crazy expensive, crazy overpriced, that are definitely going to need some work. Just by looking at the pictures, you can tell they're going to need some work.
So what's the advice for those folks? We have to stop talking about the fucking work ethic. Not just the president, not just the talking heads. Everybody. It's not work. Median should go together. It used to be true almost every single year from 1970 to 2022. The median household income could get the median house.
This person says, my husband's grandmother bought her house from a catalog for $7K. Now it's over $300K. Excuse me? $7,000 for a house. $7K. 7 to $300,000. This person says, didn't work hard enough. I am 27. I'm not even 30. I've only been working since I was 16, but I didn't work hard enough. Literally campaigned on lower housing costs. Another promise not kept. And that's about everything that I got for you guys for this video today. I hope you gained some insight as to what's actually going on in the housing market and why things are as bad as they actually are. I would love to hear from your personal experience to see what you've been experiencing in the housing market. So comment down below and let me know what your experiences have been. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone that you think might also enjoy the video. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.